US President Donald Trump has issued a warning to Russia, saying he's angry with President Vladimir Putin and may impose secondary sanctions on Russian oil if Moscow doesn't agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine. Speaking to NBC on Sunday, Trump said if talks with Putin fail and he believes Russia is to blame, a 25% tariff will be slapped on all Russian oil exports. He added that the move could happen at any time and that he plans to speak with Putin this week. Trump's frustration reportedly stems from Putin's recent comments questioning Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's legitimacy and floating the idea of a temporary UN-backed administration in Ukraine, a suggestion the United Nations quickly rejected. Under Ukraine's constitution, elections cannot be held while martial law is in place, which has been the case since Russia's full-scale invasion began in 2022. Russian officials, however, continue to question Zelensky's presidency. There's been no official response yet from Moscow to Trump's comments. In the past, Russia has labeled Western sanctions as illegal and driven by economic rivalry. Trump made the remarks after meeting Finnish President Alexander Stubb over the weekend. According to Stubb's office, he proposed April 20th as a potential deadline to agree on a ceasefire, marking 3 months into Trump's current term. Meanwhile, the US is reportedly encouraging Ukraine to sign a critical minerals agreement, which could give the US control over revenues from Ukrainian natural resources. President Zelensky has said Kiev's legal team is reviewing the draft. Speaking later on Air Force One, Trump accused Zelensky of trying to back out of the deal and said that if he does, he's got big problems. Trump also repeated that Ukraine would never join NATO.
I don't think so. I think he wants to make a deal. And I think Zelensky, by the way, I see he's trying to back out of the rare earth deal. And if he does that, he's got some problems, big problems. We made a deal on rare earth, and now he's saying, well, you know, I want to renegotiate the deal. He wants to be a member of NATO. Well, he was never going to be a member of NATO. He understands that. So,
potential tariff on Russian oil could impact major buyers like China and India, much like a recent move by the Trump administration that imposed tariffs on oil from countries doing business with Venezuela. Despite the sharp tone, Trump said his anger towards Putin could ease if, in his words, he does the right thing.
All secondary tariffs are very strong because essentially it says if you disobey our orders, you cannot do business in the United States of America, and that's the cash cow.
Will that apply to Chinese companies buying Russian oil as well, if you plan to go ahead with those?
So if, in the case of Venezuela, as you know, China pulled up anchor and left. They were there, they had 2 ships there, and they left empty. They didn't want to take a chance. No, we're not playing games.